country. When you go across from Kinsaiway, you get the Cherokee streets. You can find the Dogtown, right? Like there are so many different towns in St. Louis City that is full of immigrants, that they founded that little area with different cultures and languages over there. And I would also said that the diversity is so strong in St. Louis, but it's definitely needs that word of mouth. Because without people telling me, oh, you can go there for Cherokee streets for different Spanish culture, I wouldn't know there's a town or little streets that actually on the other side of Kinsaiway that it's so full of different cultures. I wouldn't know there's a St. Louis Hill that has the Italian culture. So that word of mouth is definitely a strong power for people to find that resources in St. Louis or the St. Louis metro area.
Absolutely. I'm a huge soccer fan also. I love the fact that we have a good soccer team, and when I go to soccer, I realize that it's a very international, global sport, and I love that about us too.
Not just team. When you look at the soccer teams, I'm glad you mentioned that. A lot of soccer star players they're from overseas.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Not only soccer, but if you look at the baseball,
yes.
hockey.
Yes.
So that's
SIU actually brings international student athletes to play sports here on campus. So I think makes me feel happy. And I also want to just plug in, because Kelly, you mentioned, is it called Move to STL? I learned some great things about that program, and I wanted to make sure that more people know about that program so that we can attract especially younger working professionals from other cities, like you mentioned, to St. Louis. I think St. Louis is oftentimes underappreciated as an immigrant-friendly town.
So with that program, we do have people who have said yes, they're interested in moving here. They only want to move if there's a job available.
Right.
So that program is really now concentrating on trying to match people with employment. So I think I can't remember the numbers, but it's maybe 30 to 50 individuals who said they want to come here, and now it's just finding the right place for them to work.
Right.
So it's a really great program. You should look it up.
Yeah.
All the information's on our website, but young people would be good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, if I may add something to that, actually, I'm glad Kelly mentioned that. There is an effort going on right now under our commission. Like I said, as a commission, we work with multiple organizations in the region. One of them is called Explore St. Louis. Everybody heard about it, Explore St. Louis. And it is an organization to promote St. Louis to visitors, business people, even people who seek jobs. Okay, so we allocated a lot of budget, and we track their performance. Okay, we don't say as one of the role as a commissioner, we work with them, we support them from behind the scene, and we hired a new CEO about a little less than a year ago, Brad Dean, and he's really working hard. And then we actually hired a CCO about a year and a half ago. So also we know here about Greater St. Louis Inc. We have a new the CEO, Ron Kitchen. So we work with them very closely. The reason I'm telling you all this is that our commission is trying to help our community to reborn our identity, meaning that we have something called rebranding St. Louis effort going on. Okay, so we have St. Louis Day, 314 Day, and all of those are spearheaded by these organizations. And if you look at the statistics, okay, number one, we are not increasing our population in the long term, but 2025 actually, the statistics shows that we are number 16 in terms of the job growth. We're doing pretty good, okay? Number 16 out of 50. And guess what? We're number 1 in terms of immigration population growth rate. 2024, we were number 1. So this was
percentage, I think. It was percentage.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
the absolute number.
No, not the number, no.
Right.
The rate of increase, we're number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of positive things going on, and because everybody agreed that we need it. So we're doing so well. We're trying to support our community in that direction, so we can escalate this positive momentum going. And it is important. But then the important thing is that we show our identity. St. Louis is not a sleeping town. When I say St. Louis, not just St. Louis, Missouri side, again, including southern Illinois. It's a greater St. Louis, I call it. But anyway, yeah, that's very important, and I want to make sure that audience actually are aware of this rebranding St. Louis effort right now. So every little thing you hear on the news and things like that, you're about it. I can talk about this another 2 hours. What was going on in St. Louis and southern Illinois, but we have a lot of good people working really hard behind the scene, trying to reinvent St. Louis. Okay, so thank you.
Perfect. All right, well, I think, Dr. Anastasia, this might be one of my best experiences of facilitating a panel. I think we have just about a few minutes. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions.
Please.
So, I mentioned exchange programs and international conferences for students. Here is a freshman. How does she go about finding what's the right exchange program for her? What's the right international experience for her also?
Good. So the student here, I'm sorry, may I ask your name?
Hi, Lily.
Lily, you're a freshman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. You look like senior actually.
I know.
No, not when I say not the look. When I say the fact that you're sitting here taking notes. I think you're so serious. That's really great actually.
I don't take offense one way or the
Oh,
other. Thank you.
very good actually. I mean, the fact that you're here, actually you're only one here sitting, so I give you this high compliment.
That's whole
Seriously.
student body.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Don't let me do that.
Anyway, yeah, the conferences. I know every student that I still talk with, okay, they know I go to a lot of global conferences all over the world. Of course, they want to go to CES, Consumer Electronics Show, Las Vegas. Who doesn't want to go, right? But you're not going to be able to have time and money for it, okay? Start with something small. This International Student Day, like Dr. Anastasia put together, it's a good one. And then actually, 2 days ago, I was at AMSL, having very similar. I told Soren about it, but there was actually International Business IBCC International Business Conference in AMSL. It's welcomed for all students. Okay, you just need to keep your tab. And that one had I think about almost 150 students. And I was doing the same thing, except a little more business oriented because it was a business oriented program. But it's something that you can also. That program was actually 7 colleges around the region participating. So including Illinois State University in Peoria, I think. Anyway, yeah. To make long story short, there's a lot of regional, local conferences you can Google. And one trick that I learned is that you can go on those subscribe newsletter, okay? But the only drawback is your inbox will fill with all kinds of stuff. So you have to create some kind of creative filter. But you should just subscribe newsletter based on organizations like International Institute is one of them. But if you want to know about business world, there's multiple other organizations you can subscribe, and then you can screen. And there is a lot of them. A lot of our students registration fees are free or very cheap. Okay, so my company hosts some of them too every year, and we make it free to all the students. So these are one thing you can actually start with. Okay.
I also had some questions for both Kelly and Jennifer. So, if we want more people to come to the St. Louis area and first generation immigrants or new Americans, as you call them, in particular, okay, so maybe there is a family in Los Angeles and they just decided that, life is too expensive there and they would like to move to St. Louis. And they're not at the bottom, so they don't necessarily need the food pantry, but they're also not at the top, so they will need help, I don't know, finding decent accommodations for whole family without having to pay half year rent in advance, finding a car, finding insurance, maybe finding healthcare, all of those. Is that like streamlined? I mean, it's wonderful that there is the International Institute and Project Mosaic and the World Affairs Council and maybe the Chambers of Commerce if they want to start businesses. But is there anything that they can do or any help that they can get to just find a one-stop shop where they could enlighten themselves? Okay, I can actually afford rent, buy a car or rent a car, find a job pretty quickly, get the kids to school, make sure all my taxes are in order, and all of those things that you need for the life in the new place to start. And then my second question for you is there any ways that students can get involved in any of that help and support? I mean, yes, internship, but not every student wants to do a 6 months or 3 months long internship. Maybe they just want to help when they can.
So those are great questions, and I was just trying to look up something. But I will say that there is that program under Mosaic, or they're in partnership with Mosaic, that provides the mentorship for spouses of foreign-born individuals. And going off of that, the International Institute used to do this, and some other organizations do this, but we set up a program where a St. Louis family can be a support for a new family. And those kind of programs are the most successful. This Mosaic program where they match a new American with a St. Louisan, those are going to be the most concrete examples I can provide, because they form a relationship, they get to know each other, they know that if the family values education, where to take them for education. They know that if the family values what the family values are, they can really help with that. So I also know that the St. Louis Public Radio was doing a whole pitch on a new to St. Louis guide, and they were trying to be very inclusive to immigrants and refugees. I don't really know if their literature is in different languages, but I believe if you go on their website, you will find like this whole toolkit to St. Louis. And then last but not least, I mean, the International Institute isn't a one-stop shop, but we would be able to refer people to these organizations. And most importantly, going back to the mentor relationship, I think that most immigrants and refugees do well when they can connect with somebody. And it doesn't always have to be through the country, but even the region of the world. Right now, we're currently helping South Africans. There aren't a lot of South Africans in St. Louis, but we've managed to find some, and then we've also managed to find just people in general from not the country of South Africa, but the lower part of South Africa as a continent. And so that can be reassuring, right? So I think there's a lot of organizations trying to make connections, and I think we're all working together, but that would be the best thing. And what was your second question? I totally...
How can students...
Oh, students. Well, I think students have a lot of things. Han mentioned some great ones, but even myself, I'm a lifelong learner, and I find that LinkedIn, if you like certain organizations, you will find you could spend your whole day on free webinars on LinkedIn. I mean, every week I try to click on one and try to attend one. So go on LinkedIn, make a profile, and then start liking corporations or organizations that you have passion about, and you will be invited to lots of events and lots of free webinars. Or even, like you said, the universities around the region have excellent programming and most of the time are free to students.
I can add resources for education. So there's a nonprofit organization called Navigate STL that is within St. Louis City. So finding a school, it's like a games. You have to look for different schools and their admission process. The Navigate STL helps family who are new to St. Louis, or even you're from here, to help them navigate their educational path, like finding the school that fits your needs. So that's a great resources for education for St. Louis City. And I was gonna say too, right now with this world, I use AI all the time. So anytime you need resources, like what is the best way, like I wanted to look for volunteer opportunities that relate to international studies. Add ChatGPT, add AI, ask them, and then but just make sure you're specific enough. For example, the year of 2026, and what month, and what's your location, and they'll be able to provide a lot of resources for that.
Yeah, if I can add something about it, because we're talking about resources, but I can talk collaboration, business, but also nonprofit with university. 8 years ago, or something like that, I had a Chinese student who was adopted into an American family, but he spoke Chinese because he was adopted when he was like 8 or 9 or something like that. So I helped him as his capstone experience to do a book of resources for new Chinese immigrants in this area. So I took a picture of him like he was carrying a trolley behind him, and I put a design on the cover of his report, the Wall of China and the Arch of St. Louis. He was traveling from one to another, and inside he put bilingual resources in English and Chinese for new immigrants, telling them, you know, where they can go for services, for police, for translation, for medical services, for this, for that. So this could be maybe projects that we can do together with Milieu's organization, with students from international studies and so on.
Yeah, I was that student's community client.
Yes.
All right, well, I think this was quite a fun conversation. I really want to say thank you for hosting us, and of course, thank you to our amazing panelists. I hope that we've made some connections, and hi. And all right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.